when you got to Florida, you were just happy that you could go to Florida.
Just to get it. That's right. Absolutely.
Because there had not been a black quarterback that played for Florida. And I think Conrad Holloway was the only one in
Holloway. Yep. When we were there, it was, you may recall, it was Holloway at Tennessee. It didn't mean.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the strange thing, Pat, you may recall during that time, some other teams signed black quarterbacks, but I never faced one. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that is crazy. Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Meldon Law Studios at the Hacienda. All right, welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at the Dooley Dome. A great show for you today. We got two guests lined up. One of them is Patric Young, who you guys know very well. Obviously, I'm wearing my Patric Young hat today. And he's going to talk a little bit about his PY4 Foundation and the thing that they're doing, the Rep to Rise, which is a really good idea. Well, I know the Wyman company is very much behind this, and we'll talk to him about that and what he's been doing lately. And then also today, Don Gaffney is going to join us, and we'll talk to him about his time at Florida. And he is good. There's a record he broke that nobody can ever break. First quarterback to win it, Jordan Hare from Florida. Nobody can break that record. He's the only one that has it. And then Coach Spurrier will be in here on Monday. Tammy Reese is scheduled to join us on next Thursday, the new women's basketball coach. Got a lot of questions for her, obviously. And then we talked to Teddy DePay the other day, and he's going to come on in July, and do the show. And I can't wait to talk to him. Always like talking to Teddy. Talked to him for about 20 minutes on the phone the other day, just chatting about things. So anyway, we're trying to fill up your summer with a lot of fun, and stay with us here. I know there's no football to talk. We'll talk football. Believe me, it's going to be talked about. But if you want, we got a lot of things to talk about. We'll get to them. But stay with us in the summer. I know it can be bleak, but hey, I'm here to try to answer all your questions. And you can send them to me at patrickdooley54 at gmail.com. Also, advertising, if you're interested, anybody, I got a great deal for you, unbelievable deal. I'm doing housekeeping here. Lee, I've got your package together. It's a matter of getting to the post office and sending it. I'm sorry to be so late, but not having a car right now. In fact, I just found out the car is going to be even later. Now it's June or July 9th or something that's going to be ready. Anyway, all right. Let us get started on this show, and we hope we have a good one. And we'll start it off with some good people from MoneyMetals.com. MoneyMetals.com is your home for gold and silver purchases, one of the largest distributors in all the United States. Two Gator grads are running it, and you can reach them at 1-800-800-1865 or at MoneyMetals.com. Okay, our MoneyMetals.com starting five. For today, we're going to start off with number one, which is usually where you start. That's where we're starting. And this is going to be a constant theme here about Florida football, okay? Where I'm going to say that they're getting too much summer loving, and I'll explain why. And then we're going to try to break down the games they have one by one. Today will be Florida Atlantic, and this is what we're going to do this summer and talk about them. But also, I just wanted to talk about the summer loving that Florida's getting, because it's just been wild to me how people are just falling in love with a team that they haven't seen play. They went 4-8 last year. It's still 4-8. I don't care if the coach got fired in the middle of the year. They went 4-8, and they shouldn't have won the Mississippi State game. It should have been 3-9. So it's, those are still the same players. And I know that John Summerall's coming in here and changing attitudes and changing mentality and bringing back mat drills and bringing back a lot of things that had gone away. Bringing back Friday Night Lights, all that stuff and more. And I know all that's good. Is it going to be good enough to win 8 games like I predicted? Now, 8 games isn't going to get you probably into the playoffs. I wouldn't think so. But it would get you into a decent bowl, and you would feel like Florida was on its way back. But there are people that are calling Florida. In fact, this was the reason I brought it up today, calling them a dark horse SEC contender. And I'm like, well, how dark are they? Because they must be really dark, like black, because I don't see Florida having any chance to win the SEC. None. Zero. Stranger things have happened, yes, but I don't see that happening. And that's why, but look, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, man. I can't have babies either. That was her thing. Debbie Downer, played by the wonderful Rachel Dratch, who I love very much, and said, it's official. I can't have children. That was one of them. Anyway, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm trying to be Pat the realist. I shouldn't, there's no alliteration there. So Pat the pragmatic, I guess, would be what it is. And I still don't see this being a great team. I think it has the potential to be a good team. And good would be in that 9-3 got a chance, and you could be as bad as 6-6. That would be that wouldn't be a great team. A great team would be a team that made the playoffs and was never a question they're going to make playoffs. A good team would be a team that was in the conversation for the playoffs, but still could finish. If you get bad breaks, you can finish back. Anyway, none of that. None of our predictions matter, but we're still going to make them, and everybody's going to make them. And I just wanted to bring this up because it just feels like all of a sudden, and a lot of this is because John Summerall's doing such a great job in the offseason. Look, you and I have no idea if this team's getting a lot stronger, a lot faster, a lot better. If the play calling is going to be so much better, we're gonna be going, oh man, Billy Napier is terrible. I think we already said that, but we got to see it. We got to see it on the field before we really, really know. But they are getting a lot of summer love. So I wanted to break down the opening game against Florida Atlantic, and I don't know how many. Let's see how many of you, and don't look it up, don't Google it, but how many of you know who the coach at Florida Atlantic is? I thought so. It's Zach Kitley. He runs a very fast-paced offense. This will be a good test for Florida, even though it's in the swamp. Even though they went 4-8 last year, they're a program that's trying to get going back in the right direction. Since Kiffin left, it hadn't gone well, which no big surprise there. They made some bad hires, but hey, look. Their AD got promoted to Virginia Tech, so he must have done some good things. Obviously, he also hired Dusty May. That's one of those like Strickland and Todd Golden and I'm blanking on White's first name, not Mike White, not Danny White. It's a White anyway. It's one of the Whites. God, I'm just blanking on. Anyway. He did hire Dusty May, so that was a great hire. And obviously Dusty May's no longer there, but he's no longer at Michigan either. So yeah, they got a pretty good team coming back. They got pretty much everybody coming back. Their quarterback is named Caden Van Clamp. Threw a bunch of picks last year, 20 picks. That's the thing they're trying to get solved. Best player is probably Easton Morgan, a wide receiver who is a senior. And Easton is a name that we keep hearing a lot now. I never used to hear that as a first name for men or for women, but I'm hearing it a lot now. I guess a lot of people name their kids after the bat. I don't know. It is a cool name, though. I do like Easton. Hey, look, it is going to be a good test for Florida. They're going to come out with a high tempo offense, so you've got to be ready. You've got to be able to get guys on and off the field and get 11 guys on the field on every play. God, I'm never going to stop saying that until I go a full year with never having 10 to 12 to 13 men on the field. I saw it in every season under Billy Napier. I don't want to see it anymore. I just want to mention that. All right. So if they use it to come in here all cocky and ready to go, but Florida's got way better athletes than them. And if they just do the right things and turn them over versus turning it over. And again, this is going to be a day when we get to see the starting quarterback, whoever it ends up being, and how much they do play the backup. My gut is they're going to play them both in the first game and both in the second game. And then by the third game, you'll go, okay, this is what we have. We are taking this to Auburn, Alabama. We're taking this to the Plains. We've decided the best guy for us to win is Aaron Philo, but we're going to have packages that Tramel Jones comes in for. Now, you always hear that from coaches. We have a package for him, and then they never use the package. We used to hear that. Remember when Urban Meyer was trying to tell us that Joe Hayden was going to play some quarterback, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're taking Tebow off the field. But Joe Hayden's an amazing athlete, no doubt about it, and could have done some great things, handing him the ball. Maybe should have gotten him the ball, put him at wide receiver then. But you had so many weapons there, you weren't going to mess with him on defense. Anyway, so that's a little look at FAU and also the Summer 11 that John Summerall's experienced. And I think it's good that the momentum's good, for Florida football, that people are talking about it and it feels more relevant than it's been in a while. But just saying. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Money Medals. Starting 5, brought to you by our friends at Money Medals. Florida basketball schedule came out. Not completely came out, but it came out. Here's the games they're going to play. They just haven't scheduled when they're going to be yet. But this is their away schedule, and you look at it, and it looks pretty daunting. At Alabama, Arkansas could be the best team in the country. Well, second best team in the country. Auburn, you know how hard it is to play there. LSU, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, and South Carolina. Pretty tough schedule, especially in this conference. But you know what? I think it was Chris Harry pointed this out on at FloridaGators.com. Basically the same schedule they had 2 years ago when they won the whole league, or the whole thing. So I'm not worried about who they have to play. That's one thing. Bring it on. One thing I have learned about college basketball is that whatever your schedule is what it is. You need to schedule a lot of neutral site games, which Todd Golden figured out, because they help your RPI way more. They mean more. Winning a neutral site game means way more than winning a home game. We know that. You like to win road games, which Florida was very good at last year. But those road games I just gave you, that's 9 really tough games. Okay, this is the best team in the country, right? So it is a hard schedule, but it's not an impossible schedule. Every schedule in the SEC is going to be tough this year. And you look at everybody and who they're going to have to play. And I just wish I wish there was a way we could play everybody could play everybody twice. But I mean, obviously that would be 30-game conference schedule. You can't do that, but it'd be fun. And we wouldn't have any dregs. And let me tell you what, if the SEC went to a 30-game conference schedule, they might get all their teams in the league, in the tournament. I'm telling you. All right. So that is the Florida hoop schedule that came out this week. And interesting news, certainly. Let's get to number 3 on our Money Medals. Starting 5, and that is that Kevin O'Sullivan's still at work trying to rebuild this team. And that's what he is doing. And I'm not being critical of any players at all. I'm just saying this. Obviously, with the way the season ended, Sully very unhappy and has really been busting his tail trying to get the right people in here. And the latest acquisition is Todd Butler, who was the assistant head coach at Oregon State. I'm sorry, Oklahoma. And he'd been getting guys from Oregon State. That's why I think. But Oklahoma, which just won the Natty. So now, Oklahoma also was under 500 in the SEC. Florida dominated them when they were out there. But anytime you can get a coach like this, it's good move, good pull. And I did want to give congrats to Oklahoma because on Monday's show, we didn't, we knew they were going to play. We didn't know what the result was. And congrats to them. I was rooting for them. To be honest with you, it was kind of a boring game, so I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I watched the early innings, but not the late innings. But congratulations to them. I know Tim Walton's very happy after he, of course, he pitched there at Oklahoma. And Bob Stoops was happy, and Barry Switzer, and all the other celebs that show up for the big ones. So congratulations to Oklahoma, and unfortunately, we stole one of your coaches. Sorry. We need help right now. And that is the truth. I mean, but I'm guarantee you halfway through, after that series with Florida, do you not think Oklahoma baseball fans are going, I don't know where this team's going. It's not going the right direction. I like that Florida team, though. It's a long season. It's what you do in the postseason that matters. We know that. All right, let's get to number 4 on our Money Medals starting 5. And that is that the NBA draft was Tuesday and Wednesday. I watched a little Tuesday, but look, drafts aren't for me. I'm just not a fan of drafts. I just want to know what happens in the draft. That's all I want to know. Just show me the results at the end of it. And again, with no Gators there because everybody came back, it took a little bit of the interest away. But certainly, they did stick with AJ with the first pick. The Wizards did, and if they hadn't, that would have been ridiculous. They should have fired everybody if that didn't happen. I believe DeBoncha is going to be a star in this league, and Darren Peterson may be too. I think Cameron Boozer may be Rookie of the Year. If I was going to bet, if I was a gambler, I would bet on Cameron Boozer to be the Player of the Year. But it was an interesting draft, and they graded him. I think it was Windhorse graded him on ESPN. He gave the Grizzlies an A+, and that's where our friend Walter Clayton plays, so that's good. And the only team he gave an F to was Portland because they didn't have any picks. So now you can't grade a team if you don't take the test. You can't get a grade, right? They didn't take the test, so they can't give them a grade. But a lot of good players. Again, those top freshmen are just going to be interesting to watch. Many of them from the SEC, as we know. And it's going to be a fun basketball season, whether you're watching the college game or the NBA. I think the NBA is going to be even more interesting this year for us because, Florida's been so – I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. We've been more relevant than we were for a while there, okay? Florida has been very, very relevant, and that's what happens when you win an Natty and are a – 1 seed again the following year. You've been a 1 seed 2 straight years. You're one of the blue bloods. We've established that, and you certainly are a very relevant program. And it makes it more interesting when guys that you play against and you beat Darius Acuff. I can go through the list of great players that got drafted in the NBA that Florida was able to handle. And all Florida's players come back. It's just going to be an interesting basketball season. That's what I'm trying to say. Did I make that clear? I think so. All right. That is number 4. And so for number 5 on our Money Medals starting 5, I did want to say this because I know it happened last week, but Larry Ray passed away. And I got to know Larry Ray pretty well because when I was columnist here, and he came here in 95, and of course they didn't start playing until 97 softball. But I did a lot of the softball stuff. I liked covering the game. I enjoyed how fast it was and how quick it would get over. This was in the days when every game was 1-0, but or 0-0. But Larry Ray was a good dude. I liked him very much. He's the guy who invented the slap hitting. He came up with that idea at Arizona, and certainly had success here. Won Florida's first ever SEC championship. Their first great player in Chelsea Sakisi. I don't think there's much question about that. Chelsea's delightful young lady too. I've spoken to her several times. And Larry and I, we kind of had a good relationship. So I kind of lost track of him, and I knew he was out in Tucson, but felt bad to hear that he had passed away. He was 84, I think. So his wife was very young, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. I'm interviewing him, and we're walking, and everybody's quit playing, and we're walking down the third base line, and all of a sudden sprinklers come on, as they normally would after a practice, and his wife just ran full speed and dived into the water and did a slip and slide. And I went, okay, that's different, but it stuck in my mind. But Larry Ray was a really good coach, and he did a great job at getting this. He is the godfather of Florida softball. And I know Tim Walton had very nice things to say about him. But anyway, sad to see that he passed away. All right. That's going to do it for our moneymetals.com starting five. Don't forget, you can get that Gator coin from them. Just contact them at moneymetals.com, and that Gator silver coin is really something special. I've got one myself. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, the great Don Gaffney will join us, former Florida quarterback, former public official up in Jacksonville, and always a good dude. I love me some Don Gaffney. We'll talk to him when we come back here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you why you should be buying silver and how to get started. Recent price spikes in groceries, healthcare, gasoline, steel, and lumber tell the story of inflation, as do raging bull markets and equities in housing. As the reality of all this inflation sinks in, investors will be acting quickly to diversify and protect themselves, their families, and their assets. That's why we're offering our Silver Starter Kit to help you get started in holding tangible wealth. This mix of our most recommended forms of silver includes 9 silver coins, totaling 4 troy ounces of fine silver. These pure silver coins have a low bid-ask spread, the difference between the price you pay to buy and the price you receive to sell. Low transaction costs are one reason Investopedia calls Money Metals the best dealer in America. Don't waste any more time. Start protecting your savings today with physical precious metals at moneymetals.com/go.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is a great pleasure to bring back one of my good friends, Don Gaffney, who, of course, played quarterback here at Florida back in the olden days, back when that stadium behind me was not quite as big as it is now. How you doing, Don?
Doing all right, Pat. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm sorry. I was thinking the same thing, looking at the picture of the stadium. You're right. It was a different place back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, back then it looked like the old stadium used to play with in the Firebirds.
Right. Absolutely.
Let me tell you what, I think I am the only person in the world who's ever covered the USFL, the WFL, the AFL, and the NFL in Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
And I remember one time coming over there to interview you guys, and they locked you out of your locker because they didn't pay the rent.
Right. Right. You remember?
It was wild. It was fun. It was fun. I liked it was a good quality of football.
It was. You can always find football players, and fans too. But
Yeah, absolutely.
we knew ultimately that the NFL was going to have to expand and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you a big Jaguar fan now?
I like the Jaguars. I do. I asked Tracy a couple of days ago. I wonder if we'll ever see the Jaguars go to Super Bowl. I mean, and the reason I said that was because of the Knicks and their situation and how long it's been.
Yeah.
Will a day come when we say, well, we finally saw the Jaguars go to the Super Bowl? So
it could happen. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but
well, they're getting there. We can see that. They're building. If they can just hold on, but things going. We know things change quick.
Well, they do, and nothing changes like it does in college football now with the NIL and the portal. And I know that you're sitting there probably going, "I wonder how much I could have made in NIL."
Well, that's something that's something to think about, Pat. I mean, you were there for every step that I made when I was there, and you know what it was like, and we do kid around a lot of times, me and some of my ex-teammates, about the fact that we thought players should be compensated, but I think it's gotten a little out of control, a bit out of control.
Well, yeah. But I mean, when you got to Florida, you were just happy that you could go to Florida.
Just to get it. That's right. Absolutely.
Because there had not been a black quarterback that played for Florida. And I think Conrad Holloway was the only one in
Holloway. Yeah. When we were there, it was, you may recall, it was Holloway at Tennessee. It didn't me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the strange thing, Pat, you may recall during that time, some other teams signed black quarterbacks, but I never faced one. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that is crazy. And of course, you went to Jordan Hare won the first time there. A Florida quarterback had never won there. How aware were you of that stat, or were you just saying, "Oh, you didn't find out you're getting the ball till right before the game"?
The only way I would have found out about that, Pat, you would have had to tell me. You know that. We talked enough about stuff, but we never talked about that. And ironically, I remember we talked about the fact that we had never won there, and my feelings immediately after the game. I remember saying it was a beautiful day. The field was wonderful, and I couldn't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to win. I didn't know anything about the Jinx. and I followed the Gators. I followed the Gators all my life.
Is that how you got to Florida? That you were a big Gator fan?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. All the way back, used to watch Florida football highlights. Every game. Remember when Coach Graves had this show going for a long time, and then Coach Dickey's show. And so I was. We never missed that show. My brothers and I, my dad, and I remember asking my dad one day, wonder what it would take to get on one of those highlights. He said, first you gotta get in school, and then go do what it takes to become a player that can participate and produce. The first thing my dad used to say to us is grades. You can't get there if you don't have the grades. So I think he kind of psyched us out there,
Absolutely. And I mean, I grew up with those Gator highlights too. I mean,
I know you did.
You knew every Sunday at noon, Gator highlights come on, and then after that, Notre Dame highlights.
Notre Dame highlights. That's right. Lindsey Nelson. That's right.
We go to further action.
That's right.
But
that's right.
Yeah, that's all we had, man. We didn't.
That's it.
They might get one NFL game on, but that was about it.
One NFL game, and and if it wasn't the Redskins, it was the Falcons. Well, so I mean,
that's right.
But even more so, the Gators, was everything that we, the guys that I grew up with. That's all that we knew, and so once I finally got an opportunity to play, it didn't dawn on me because things, as you know, Pat, things happen so fast. And I recall coming home to Jacksonville, and the guy told me, say, Don, I saw you on the highlights. And I thought about that, Here's a young guy saying to me, I saw you on the Gator highlights, the Doug Dickey show, he called it. And I said, you did. And once I was alone, I started thinking about the fact that I'm actually doing what other guys did for me. I'm doing for somebody else now. And that was a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, obviously, what did you weigh when you got there? Because I mean, you don't weigh much now.
It's strange. I've been complaining lately because I had flu, but I've lost a lot of weight. And I complained to Tracy about that, because she got me 36 pants, in the waist. I got all these pants. And last week we were getting ready to go to breakfast, and I put on a pair of those pants and they fell off me, and I'm like, I got all these clothes, they're 36, and I don't know what clothes. Then I got on the scale, I was kind of embarrassed, and I said, I don't weigh too much more than I weighed when I went to Florida. Now, this is unbelievable. Trace told me, that's true. I didn't know, So I got to do something about that.
Yeah. Well, just milkshakes. Milkshakes will put the weight back on. Yeah. But I mean, and again, a lot of people don't even know this because they don't know history.
Yeah.
Back then, you couldn't play as a freshman.
That's right.
Even if you were good enough. So you had to sit out and you had to play for because I remember Robbie, Andrew, and I did the chains for a baby Gator game. They didn't have a chain guy, so we came down off the field and did them. That was fun.
Yeah. It's really interesting, Pat, that you mentioned that because, the first time that I wore the Gator uniform was with the baby Gators in the game with Auburn. And it was the first time that we lined up. It was ironically, though, I had been moved up to the varsity, so I hadn't practiced much with the baby Gators. And I wasn't playing at all with the varsity. So I was kind of in limbo, I remember saying to myself, oh, my goodness, you got yourself caught up here now. The coaches think you're good enough to play varsity. But, Davey was the SEC passing champion last year. Yeah. Chan's behind him. So you don't get much work at practice. The baby Gators, you're not going to play against Auburn. This is a big game for all of us. We're getting a chance to play in our Gator uniform for the first time. It was a weird feeling, man, but it was so exciting. And I wanted to play freshman ball so bad. I really did.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because David Bowden and I were good friends.
Yes.
He was really tight with one of my roommates in college. Mm-hmm. And, and I've talked to David since. We're still good friends.
Yeah.
And I think you were good friends with him too.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
But people just wanted him out. After that opening game against Ole Miss, they just wanted him out. They wanted something.
You're right. They wanted him out. And David was disappointed. He made a mistake. And, I'm not certain, Pat, to be honest with you. I was standing, you were in Carl, I was standing right there with Coach Dickey and Chan, trying to learn as much as I could what was going on. And the situation was with us trying to, we didn't need much to win that thing. We just needed a first down. And David sort of lost count, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't recall now exactly. Something happened where we missed, we missed a play, and I think we thought we got that play over again. So he thought it was really third down, and he was stopping it.
He's not the only Florida quarterback that throws the ball out of bounds on fourth.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because I can tell you, Jimmy Fisher did it too.
Jimmy did it. Yeah, yep. Jimmy did it. Jimmy did it. And he also, Jimmy did it, I think maybe twice. It happened. But it could happen.
Once in North Carolina, down in Tampa. I was there for that game. Yeah.
And and Jimmy was a tough kid. And he things like that bothered him a lot. But, he was a great quarterback. He really was. So we all make mistakes. And no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you had Robbie Davis on that team too.
Yeah, Robbie was the biggest arm. Robbie had a big arm. I mean, he had an NFL arm.
Yeah, I remember when he came. He transferred from South Carolina, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he came, and I go, "Oh, Florida's got this great transfer quarterback." I don't
That's
even
right.
playing in the game. I don't.
Well, when he came, the first time I saw Robbie, I said to myself, "Now that's a big time quarterback there." Because you may recall we had played California where they had Barkowski.
Yep, they did
my freshman year, and then we faced was it Tommy Kramer? I'm trying to think. There were
Price, yep.
Yeah, it was Tommy Kramer. These guys, these big arms, and they had nothing on Robbie. I mean, and Steve Barkowski could throw that thing. He piled up a lot of yardage in the NFL. Robbie could really throw, and he looked like an NFL quarterback, didn't he? I mean, the way he dropped back, where he reads, I mean, everything. And Robbie was a good buddy. He and Mark Newman. Remember Mark Newman was 6'6"? Mark Newman was also a tall quarterback, with a big arm. I mean, he could throw it. But Robbie Davis looked so smooth when he did. He really did.
Don Gaffney coming to us on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. You can settle a bet for me with Lee McGriff, okay?
Okay.
And that is that I tell him that in that 74 California game, right?
Yep.
That Wes Chandler, true freshman, dropped what could have been a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
He says that he never dropped a pass.
Yeah, he did.
I say he did.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah. As a matter of fact, yeah. I mean, he was, because he would wear mistakes on his shoulders for a while. He did. And from that point forward, Lee had these great work habits, super work habits, and Wes had similar habits where when he make a mistake, he just work himself into the ground to make up for that. But he did against California. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had Wes and Lee, and you guys hardly ever threw the ball. I don't know.
Well, they were devoted to the wishbone. Well, not really. Remember now, it was the veer first, and then the wishbone. We go into the spring, Pat. You were there. We went into the spring, and we started running the veer so well. And the coach decided we got this stable running backs, and we did have a stable running backs, but we had Lee and we had young receivers to go along with Lee, and so the coaches were real reluctant to really go with the passing game. And more than that, I wanted to air it out, and they weren't ready for me to do that yet. They weren't that confident yet. So once we started running the wishbone in the spring, and it looked pretty good to us on film. I remember, you remember a quarterback by the name of a guy who looked a lot like Richard Todd, but he came out of Oklahoma. I'm trying to think. I can't remember his name now.
Was it? Well, Mildren was there.
Jack Milburn was there. Yeah.
Was their stud when they played Nebraska?
Yeah, Jack Milburn was the guy, and they bought these cuts, of Milburn running the wishbone.
Oh yeah.
The things that he would do and how he'd run it. And the coaches weren't sure about how we would do with that, because here again we got Robbie, we got Mark, we got these tall quarterbacks, and none of us experienced with any of that kind of stuff. The closest we came was the guys who had run the veer when they were in high school, and that was Glenn Seaver and Robbie Ball, guys like that. And what happened when I came out of range, and what we did there. Yeah. So we worked it. We started working on it and started liking it. But with the stable of running backs we had with Tony and JR and Willie Wilder and Earl Carr and Robert Morgan and Larry Brinson, and of course Jimmy DeBose, Jimmy, who was the key to the whole thing. Man, it just looked so good. I was surprised when we came back that fall, and that's the offense that they had put in, which was the third offense for me.
Now, were you insulted that after you left, they started calling it the wishbone? Because they were so fast.
Yeah. Well, a debate amongst us. Who had the fastest backfield in the country our senior year? You know that. Oklahoma, a lot of people thought it was Oklahoma. And, when they had Joe Washington and that crew, we thought it was us. We thought we had an extremely fast backfield. And we ran the wishbone pretty good. We racked up a lot of yardage.
Absolutely. To me, the 75 team is still one of the best Florida teams of all time.
We came within a few points of not only winning the SEC title, but I don't even want to think about the other thing. I mean, we lose the opener to NC State, and that was that hurt real bad.
And Buckley did not get in on the 2-point conversion.
No, he did not. No, he did not. Isn't that something? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that one reminds me of the loss in the Sugar Bowl in Nebraska. The same type thing. So
that one tore my heart out. The one in the Nebraska game in '74 tore my heart out.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Pat. I mean, I just to lose it like that. See, today these guys don't realize the advantages they have. They can have all these replays and all this type of stuff.
I know, exactly.
We didn't have it back then. Yeah. So,
all right, Don, we're going to get to your. We have 3 questions for you that we do for everybody. It's called Yes, No Way, or Maybe.
Gotcha.
And it's brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks, street dining done the right way. Go in there and say, hey, I heard Don Gaffney on another Dooley Noted podcast. You get free French fries with your order. So how about that?
Beautiful.
So you can expound on these answers, but here are the 3 questions for you. Number
yes,
1.
No, yes. Gotcha.
People underestimate how good Joel Parker was.
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
Well, that was the touchdown pass in the Auburn game you threw.
That's right. The very first one. That's right. For me as a starter. Very first touchdown pass I threw as a starter was to Joel. Absolutely.
He was a good player.
6'4" Joel Parker, and he can run.
All right, number 2 on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. The Gaffney legacy is better than the Jackson legacy.
No. I say that because I know that we're good. I mean, we've had some wonderful moments, but I think Willie usurps everything that anybody else could do. The fact that he withstood all the things that he had to go through, and he opened the door for a whole lot of guys.
Yep.
So no, I don't say that.
Terry wasn't a bad player either.
Terry was outstanding, and we know Lil Willie was tremendous, and of course, some of the Gaffney guys were pretty good. I probably held everybody back,
Well, I mean, Derek was a great pro. In the college, he didn't get a chance to catch much.
Right.
Of course, Jabbar
caught him in the wishbone.
Yeah, exactly. But Jabbar is considered one of the great receivers of all time at Florida.
No doubt about it. Jabbar was tremendous.
It's comparable.
Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. And of course, Warren was a tremendous defensive back. So I feel pretty good about the contribution that we made. I did okay, I think.
You did just fine. And number 3, on Yes, No Way, or Maybe with Don Gaffney, the team was not ready to play in the 1975 Gator Bowl against Maryland in the rain.
Yes.
Let
me back it up. You're right about that. And you were there. Yeah. It was that didn't start then. Now with the rain, that started when the selection came out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. We went into that game 9-2, and we were expecting a bigger, not the slight. The Gator Bowl was a good thing, but no, we weren't ready.
But you played in that stadium already.
Yeah. Yes, played all my life, and the thing is, to end it that way was kind of disappointing. That's why I was glad I had the Firebirds. I said, I thank God for that. You gave me a chance to come back and do something, ended in a better way. So you were there, Pat. So you know what it was like.
Well, I was there, and I actually took my girlfriend to that game, and guess what? We didn't get married.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't work out after that. I think
I
after
got you.
watched that 13-0 loss, she goes, you're a loser. I need to get You made me sit in the rain to watch them score nothing.
We weren't really ready to do it against Maryland. And that's so unfortunate. The weather was awful. It was super cold. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It was bad.
Right.
Always great talking to you, Don. We get you on again during football season, okay?
No problem, partner. You know it's good to talk to you, Pat.
All right. We'll be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios right after this break. You know, I got thinking the other day, some of us gained a few pounds during the Spurrier years, and then maybe a few more during Urban. And depending on how stressful certain coaching changes were, well, let's just say the scale kept moving in the wrong direction. The truth is, losing weight gets harder as we get older. Not because you suddenly get lazy, biology changes. That's why I like our guys at BMI TeleMed. They're a Florida-based medical weight management telehealth practice that helps people lose weight with personalized treatment plans, including GLP-1 therapies. But what I like is they're not just about losing weight fast and wishing you luck. They focus on helping you keep it off too. Free consultation, easy process, real clinicians. Check them out at bmitelemed.com, because if your metabolism left town around the time Urban did, you're probably not alone. That's bmitelemed.com.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at the Dooley Dome. It is a great pleasure to bring on my good friend Patric Young, who doesn't spell his first name right, but other than that, he's a good dude. Patric, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Just the month of June is almost over, man. It's been a grind. Yeah,
and you're staying busy too. I see your stuff you do with the hacker and stuff, and you're staying busy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not doing a full-time radio show, but I have my dedicated, our Gator Bites podcast, as well as hopping on with the guys in 1010 every Friday. I was with in Gainesville yesterday for a summer media institute thing at the at Weimer, which is pretty cool, and getting a chance to pour into some high school kids and stop by to see some of the basketball guys as well. So that was nice. Good day yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were impressed with because I can't imagine that you walked in there and the players that were playing from Florida were not impressive, because they all came back.
What impressed me the most, I know this is a weird materialistic thing, but I weirdly watched the guys go to their cars to see what they're driving. They're doing well. They're doing well. Alex Condon with his all white Tesla. Tommy Houck, he's an outdoors guy, so I can't remember what it was. It's not a G-Wagon and it's not a Jeep, but it's definitely it's a step above being a Jeep. And I was like, man, these guys are. And then I saw Urban Klapchar riding around on the scooter going home.
Well, he knows where he can park that scooter.
Right, anywhere.
Reason to have one.
Can literally drop it off anywhere. I'm not, it's not ideal, but yeah. Oh, dude, Adam's Ribs. Oh man, they're the best.
Oh.
Free advertisement, free plug. Adam's Ribs. Whew.
Well, they are the best. Absolutely. I know you love Adams. So wait, before we get to the reason we were having you on here, I wanted to talk to you about what you think about, because you guys, when you had your senior year, the pressure was not there starting the year. There was some pressure. You guys had been to 3 straight Elite Eight, so I mean there was some pressure, but it wasn't like this team, which is coming off 2 years being removed from winning a natty.
Yeah, it was different for us. We we came into that year with a chip on our shoulder, primarily to answer the call, as well as we knew that this was our last shot. Um, but we didn't start off the year in terms of mindset the exact place you kind of want to be. I'll never forget this because we brought back a core group of guys. So we had lost Eric Murphy and Irving Walker, Mike Rosario, those guys. So then we have my senior year, or maybe it was Kenny Boyden. It's Kenny Boyden we lost. That was in the Michigan game. So we brought back a good core. Me, Casey Prather, Scotty Wilbekin, Will You Get, Mike Frazier. Jacob Kurtz he was starting to contribute good minutes and a great. That's the thing. You don't see how well guys that maybe don't play a lot, how well they affect practice. Like Jacob Kurtz, he was awesome at challenging us and not letting us be lazy in practice. But I remember we had a scrimmage against Georgia Tech, a close scrimmage before the season started. And I can imagine if I'm Coach Donovan, we're playing, and this is no insult, this is just factual. Georgia Tech hasn't been getting basketball in a while. Yeah. And we didn't play them very well. And I can imagine Coach Donovan's watching the game and then watching film and like thinking, we've practiced for I don't know how many weeks at that point, and he's thinking, we're not doing anything that we practiced. And I don't know if it was just like a laxed mindset or we weren't aligned. Whatever rhyme or reason, we weren't aligned on how we wanted things to be executed. And Coach Donovan, we watched the film when we get back, and he's like, you guys think because of what you did last year that you're just going to walk into success. He never talked about like going 18-0. He never talked about winning a national championship. He was so process oriented. He said, you guys have to put on your hard hats every single day. And that's how we approach practice. That he's like, we don't need to practice for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You guys come in, not from the moment that we stretch to the moment at end. Like, I need your full attention, giving it all. And that's what helped us so much. When he only had to tell us that one time, which was so beautiful. He only had to tell us that one time. He didn't have to come on, guys, like, we've already gone through the warm-ups, or we have a peer pressure drill where we're doing 3-man weave with layups and some jump shots where you have to hit a certain number to start practice. It may be a time or two where we didn't hit the numbers, but like it wasn't something that we had to keep addressing. So that's my thing for this team. I really hope that they're not going to keep following. Once everything's gonna have it. Something that needs to be corrected on a systematic standpoint, and especially with the amount of talent and the depth of this team. You think about guys like CJ Ingram, Alex Lloyd, the foreign players that like, are they going to be able to buy into the process and stay locked in, even though they're not getting great minutes on the court? I just want them to enjoy this year, man. They do have a national championship, Final Four expectation. I think we would all think it's they fell short if they don't hit that mark because they are that good. It comes with the territory. It's not often that you can come into a season and think like, oh, wow, this team, they stay healthy, they can really do it. But it's fair. It's fair to have that mindset on this team because they've done it. They have guys that have done it before, So I wonder who's going to be the Walter Clayton killer, though. We need to have that guy that has the mindset to take over for the team. And I hope that's going to be Boogie Flan this year.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, the way you finished last year, no doubt about it. But I mean, that's the thing. You were kind of the first guy that was telling people on the podcast, hey, look, I think all these guys are coming back. And I think there were a lot of people going, what? There's no way Tommy Haug's coming back. Well, you talked about his car, and he got his bag. Might as well get it from the University of Florida, where he knows he wants to play.
Yeah, and apparently the next year's draft is not going to be as deep as this one was. They still got him projected to be in the top 15. So he can play his way up. Boogie can play his way up. Alex Condon, Ruben Chinyelu. all those guys, we got a great chance for going into the draft next year that at least 4 guys get drafted, get an opportunity to be with the team. But yeah, it was a hunch. But I got a little bit of insight from Duke Warner. Not so much like he's not in the negotiation. Oh yeah, he is. He is in the
A little bit,
negotiation
yeah.
with that. He is. But he was like, yeah, somebody had to take a pay cut in comparison. I'm not sure if Ruben's making they're fine. They're making more than enough money to be content. That's the problem with today's day and age, and especially with these young guys. Like, money is something that is always, say always going to be around, but if that's the primary focus, they're going to miss out on the joys and the pleasures of playing basketball, the beauties and the lessons that are intangible, things that you can't count or quantify, if they're only focused on money. And because when you get to the NBA, man, it's a different ball game. The relationships aren't the same. The practices aren't the same. The travel schedule is brutal. It's 82 games.
And you can get
if you're
traded
not playing, right? And if you're not playing, you kind of feel like you're just invisible. You can feel as though you're invisible on an NBA roster. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I can, because if you're at the end of the bench, you're just a cheerleader.
Yeah. But shoot, I'll be a glorified cheerleader on the pitch in the NBA.
I wonder what you could have done on NIL if you'd had it back in those days.
Oh man. Why couldn't the NCAA, at a certain point, do you think, Pat, they saw that it was inevitable, or they really had no idea? You think they were completely blindsided that this was ever going to happen?
Yeah, I think that they always thought they would win the cases in court, and then all of a sudden they went on this losing streak and lost. And when they started losing, they didn't realize they were going to keep losing. All these, and it's all about the courts. It's all about judges. It's all about lawyers now. That's the shame of it. It's just not about basketball, but it is.
Well, I mean, the judges in terms of it being an antitrust violation, absolutely right. I don't know about all other stuff. There's a lot of other things that we can argue here or there that's affecting the integrity of the game, affecting the purity of college being a transformational. Yeah, and financially, for sure, it can transform you too. But what about internally, preparing you for the future, working through hard things, having a difficult coach, having to sit for a little bit. Having to sit for a little bit. Casey Prather had to. I mean, he didn't sit all 3 years, but he didn't have a great role until his senior year. And dude was on the Wooden watch list. Had an unbelievable senior year. I think he debuted in the 2014 season 13-14 season with a 27-point game.
Well, I remember the game in Omaha against Virginia in the first game. And Casey had really not done a whole lot all year, and he just went off. And I'm like, uh-oh, if this guy figured it out, Florida could go a long way. And
his athleticism was unbelievable. He just had to connect the dots of who his identity was and just go and be it.
Exactly. Hey, well, let's talk about this thing you've got coming up, this Rep to Rise. And I know that you're trying to get obviously to raise funds for the py4foundation.org if anybody wants to contribute to it, and give everybody an idea of what you're doing there.
Yeah, greatly appreciate it. I know everyone can't be involved in terms of physically, because we have our events in Jacksonville, and maybe next year I'll expand and try and find, maybe we can partner with Gainesville Health and Fitness. I have a little bit of relationships there. But the premise, if I could keep it simple, my foundation helps people that have had spinal cord injuries like me. If we want to keep it as simple and easy to understand, there's a lot of spinal cord injuries. You want me to give you numbers? 17,000 a year, about between 40 and 50 a day. Most of 80% of them are male, and the financial cost, especially in that first year, is almost always over $1 million. because it's the surgeries, the medications, the
Yeah.
equipment. Usually it's a long hospital stay. Just think, your body, the ability to walk, your bladder, your bowels, your skin. There's so many things. Every spinal cord injury is different in how your body responds. So it's a complicated mess. And we are not searching for a cure because there's plenty of places that are doing that right now. We are meeting people where they are and striving to fulfill their needs. So while we're waiting for that to happen, which could be tomorrow, could be 10 years from now, we want people to know they can have a full and abundant life, that they can get back to wholeness. Insurance, they don't see it the same way as we do. They're like, oh, you're in a wheelchair, you're fine, type mindset. But it's like, shoot, we want people to be able to drive again. We want people to be able to leave their house, to get extended physical therapy, to get some equipment that they may need. My big wish, so I hope someone hears this that has, deep pockets or compassionate heart. There's a family that I've met through my foundation last year. The dad was in a really bad motorcycle accident. He's fully recovered, not fully recovered, recovered enough. He's not out in the hospital. He's not in the hospital anymore, but he's still in his chair. He's in an electric chair, and this family does not have a lot of money. Doesn't have great insurance. Right now, he's kind of a prisoner to his house, because his insurance isn't great. He can't take his wife out on dates. Can't go see his kids. If there's anything, just his mental health would be so much better if they had an accessible wheelchair van. So we are working on saving up, raising up enough funds to fully buy a vehicle for this family, and they'd have no idea. It would. I mean, what probably, I had a question yesterday from one of the students. They asked me, what is something I'm the most proud of? If doing something like that would be something I'd be the most proud of. Out of all the things that I've done, I've been able to be a part of, like this, being able to help this family on that level, I would switch a Defensive Player of the Year trophy in a heartbeat. So if you're in Jacksonville on the 28th, we'll be at the Gym Jacks for an in-person workout. It's to raise awareness, unite the community, and for us to be grateful for the healthy bodies we have, and to, not to take that for granted. We think about the people that can't move their bodies, as well as being appreciative for the bodies that we can. So in a nutshell, that's it. Go to py4foundation.com or .org. Message me, find me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I'll help you get signed up. And yeah, that's it. Just show up. Just show up.
Yeah, that's a great thing that you're doing. And again, you're taking an approach of, I need to help people with my platform, because you still have a big platform, and obviously, your work on the SEC network and everything. And that's admirable. I can tell you that. But you know how much I admire you anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate. I wish, man. The one thing that I do miss the most, there's a lot of things you can point. I miss playing golf. Golly, I miss playing golf. I was getting so good.
I know.
I was getting so good. I was probably about a 10 handicap at one point. Like, I got to the point where I was no longer worried about my drive. I just couldn't putt.
Well, I could have worked with you on that, because I can't putt either, and I could have just shown you what I do, and then you could do the opposite. And you survived Tim Dooley trying to tackle you on the.
Oh yeah.
Tim's a big fan.
How is Tim? How's my guy doing?
He's all right. He had shoulder surgery, so he hadn't been playing much, but he's getting back now.
I'll never forget that. That was a funny moment. Yeah, Tim, he got after that. I get it though. There's so much planning that goes into putting a tournament, and then he's probably like, "Man, I'm having fun." Like, yeah, I get it.
Absolutely. Well, Patric, and again, it's PY4 Foundation. Look, PY, you can see the hat here. PY4 Foundation.org is where you go and sign up and contribute and help Patric help other people. And I know the Wyman Foundation, or the Wyman Company, is very much behind it, helping you out. Anybody else you need to plug, or because we're here to help you plug.
Oh, absolutely. Jeffrey Meldon. He's a shout out to him for his support and help. He's a diehard Gator. Gosh, because I don't watch the thing to see all the donations all the time, but yeah, with Jill, Andrew, and the Wyman company in Gainesville, they made a commitment throughout the month. I think that they're going to raise around $4,000. That's what really inspires me the most, when a company, they take this on and use it to engage their employees. And look, because the thing that's cool about it, you don't have to make a financial commitment from day one. You can make a goal that we're going to strive to accomplish this, and then throughout the month you put your own mix of how you want to communicate this to your employees, how you guys want to participate, especially if you're virtual. With the Wyman, they're very virtual, they're not in person that often. So everything matters. I just love, there's so many different ways to support people in things. We just have to be intentional about it.
Well, we're intentional about how much we love you, you know that, and we'll try to help you out there. We'll be sending a check soon. I can promise you.
I appreciate it, man.
You talk about Karen, if I tell Karen that you're doing this, and she'll go, "Oh, we're giving them money." You've got the purse strings.
How we want to talk a little football?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just did a segment about how it's almost like they're getting too much love.
I know, right? That is honestly my one concern. Is like, okay, we still got to think about, we got to see what the product looks like on the field. How is Coach Summerall? We still don't even have a starting quarterback yet.
I know, exactly.
Still the offensive line questions. Yeah, without a doubt. And I love it so much, especially in the purview of what Florida State is doing, because Florida State is doing nothing. They shutting it down. Mike Norvell, he's not on a media tour. Coach Summerall has done everything. He's everywhere. And then I think that's helped their recruiting tremendously with his visibility. Yeah, of course. I think we lost the guy. I think, and we got to figure out who's going to stay. But there's a 4-star, 5-star recruit that and you'll know it right when I say it, his dad went to Georgia, but he's at Florida. He's committed to Florida. So that speaks volumes to me. Still, we got to see the product on the field. Let's be cautiously optimistic, but without a doubt, and I don't want to disparage Billy Napier. This is a completely different regime, completely different philosophy, execution mindset. It's refreshing. John Summerall is a football coach. Yep. That's the kind of guy I imagine when I'm thinking about a football coach. He's got and Coach Napier, his approach was so kind of philosophical, and not saying that there's not a place for that, but if I'm a linebacker and you need me to cut heads off and go out there, this whole, hey, let's spot the ball. Spot the ball.
Money don't make money. You always want to hire the opposite of what you had. Okay. So if you've got a defensive coach, you hire an offensive coach with your next hire. Yeah.
That's a good time. Yeah.
You had a very low key, low energy guy. You want to bring in high energy. And that is every time I listen to him. And I used to sit here and watch Saban on all these shows over and over and over again. Here's Saban again. Is he the only football coach in the country? Why is Saban on? Now it's Summerall is on every show. So I'm good with that. I think there's a place for it.
Yeah, and I think what's cool too, there's going to be a lot of in general, the fact that Summerall is the Florida Gator coach, there's a natural inclination that people aren't going to like him. But I think the way he's presented himself so far, even if you don't like the Gators, you're like, okay, that guy doesn't rub me the wrong way. He's not an egomaniac. He's not he wants to win everything. In the same way, he's I would compare him to Dan Lanning.
Yeah,
so far. Yeah, he's Dan Lanning. It was Oregon, and gosh, it's some stupid trophy that they play for every year.
Oh,
And
the
he's like,
Apple Cup? Is that no, that's Washington State.
no, it's a platypus. It's a weird platypus trophy. And I remember him being like, "Oh, if it's a trophy, we want it." That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the Spurrier philosophy, was if we're keeping score, we're going to win. That's why he won all his preseason games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with football being such a game that so much can happen and unpredictable, if we're strapping up how much we practice, we're going out here to win.
Yeah.
And football is such an amazing sport where, I don't say anything can happen, but these college kids are not pros yet. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah, I think about the USF game and the guy, the player when he spit in the face. And I know it's terrible to bring it up, but like stuff like that can happen that can change a whole turn of a game because these are still kids that are maturing.
Guy can
And
throw a
these
shoe.
pros, they do stupid stuff too.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah. All the time. In fact, one of the stories that we're going to talk about involves not a former Florida player, but
Kidnapping.
Kidnapping. And I'm like, well, he went OJ on him. They had his stuff. And I'm going to get it. And you guys are coming with me, and we're going to take care of these guys, and we're going to use weapons. And that's where he went OJ on him.
Oh man, it's because you see that word and it's not. I'm like, oh, like did he take this and he's like a ransom? You think kind of that extreme, but it's like no, it doesn't take much for it to be considered kidnapping.
Oh yeah,
but especially if you're evading and running from the police. Oh man,
not a good look.
A number of things that doggone athletes have done and still get to play,
like gamble. But this one's not going to get to play, though, so it doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look like it. No, goodness.
All right, Patrick, we'll let you go, buddy. Always good talking to you. When we get to the basketball, we need to get you back on. And
oh, yeah. Right around the corner, man. Can't wait.
But again, py4foundation.org is a place to go if you want to help out. And I got the checkbook right over there. We're going to get that done. And you need to help them out, though. You need to help.
Yeah, please.
You need to help Patrick help other people.
Yeah, I don't receive a single dollar. Every single dollar is going to people in need, and not just Jacksonville, the entire state of Florida. There's plenty of people that we've helped in Gainesville as well. So every dollar is appreciated. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Patrick. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's always great to talk to Patrick. I didn't even realize what a heavy Jacksonville lean we had today because we had Patrick and Don Gaffney, who of course are Jacksonville legends and both live in Jacksonville still. But yeah, that's good. Hopefully people in I know Frank Frangie retweeted it when I said that we were going to have him on. So that's cool. All right. Let us get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Okay, let's start with number 1, our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is that this story, and we mentioned it earlier about Terry and Arnold, who, of course, a cornerback for Detroit, and was arrested on kidnapping and armed robbery charges, which, in theory, he could get life in prison, which is amazing to think about this. And if he kind of went OJ on him, somebody stole some of his stuff, and so he was going to go back and get it, and you can't do that. I mean, you can't do it with a gun. I mean, we all know that. And detain people, which comes under the guise of kidnapping. Again, I don't know. They deny anything happened, but it's one of those stories where you go, wait, this player who's a really good NFL player could get life in prison? What? It's crazy, but I'm sure at Detroit, they're thinking this is the last thing we need, but we'll see where this all goes. We never know, and you're always innocent until proven guilty. It is in the Constitution, right? I don't know. Is that in the Constitution, or is it just a law? Anyway, that's number one, our Hesser and Kipke three things. Number two, Dusty May, this was a big story, obviously, on Monday's show. But I don't know if we talked about it enough because we don't know the reasons. And we still don't know all the reasons why he left. There have been a lot of conjecture. One was that he just won the national title and he immediately has to get right back on the portal and everything. And it's just too much. You just want to deal with normal. And look, Billy Donovan, that was a part of why he left Florida after so long, 19 years. But he left because he didn't like where it was going, and he just said, hey, and I want to try the NBA. And I don't blame Dusty May for doing that. There's also the theory that Michigan is about to get some NCAA issues. Now, they may only relate to football. Look, there is nothing as weird as Michigan right now in sports. We can talk all we want about other programs, but is there anything weirder than Michigan, which went through Harbaugh, went through I guess can you call it Spygate? I mean, with the Connor Stallions Gate, I guess they would call it. Went through winning the national championship after being so bad with one of their own, Juwan Howard, as their coach, won 8 games. Now this guy comes out and wins a natty, and now he's gone after 1 year and waits till late to do it. Anyway, covering Michigan must be fun right now. That's all I would say, because you've got a lot of things you can write about. So maybe the NCAA is going to come get him, and maybe that's why he got out, or maybe he just it was the money, because they have a lot of money. Maybe, I mean, who knows what the reasons were until he really gets into depth about that, and not the first press conference. That's when he goes, well, I loved it at Michigan, but I just felt like this was the time. That's when he says that. A year from now, he will, well, look, the bottom line was, here's why I left. So, and it may be the money. Maybe it's just that. All right, that's number 2. And number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke three things, the Celtics are still trying to move Jaylen Brown. By the time you listen to this podcast, they may have moved him. But I don't know why they're so, I mean, the guy had a great year. He's had injuries, I know that, but I don't know why they're trying to move him. Maybe they're just trying to figure it out. But anyway, they're still pursuing that trade. And then you've got the Hornets are trying to trade LaMelo Ball, so it's still not over. The draft may be over, but the trading may not be. And we'll see where everybody ends up. All right. Those are our Hesser and Kipke three things. Appreciate Ken, although I'm mad at Ken right now because his Phillies are making life miserable for my Braves, and stop that. All right. Let us get to our BMI TeleMed Smart Move of the Week. It's brought to you by our friends at BMI TeleMed, your weight loss specialists. Achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed, 727-383-1677. Give them a call. Tell them you listen to the show. You get a discount with your order. All right. Our smart move of the weekend is going to be Giannis to Miami. And there's a smart on a lot of levels. I think it's smart that Miami did that. Pat Riley likes to have stars. That's how he's always built it. He built it with Shaq and Bosh and Wade. He built it with Kobe and Shaq. He built it. He always built it that way. With the Knicks, he had Ewing and Starks. And I think it was smart on Giannis's part. It's certainly good for him. Look, when you want to go somewhere else, just say you want to go there, and you'll get there. That's the weird thing about pro sports, and I'm talking about all of them. I'm not happy here. I want to go somewhere else. You'll eventually go somewhere else. So it was between the Heat and Boston, and they didn't bite on Jaylen Brown, and they did bite on Tyler Hero and other players, but certainly a smart move. I'm curious who's going to play in their front court, though, but we'll see. Well, it's a long process, but that is our BMI TeleMed smart move of the week. We will move along to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week, brought to you by our friends at Adams Ribco. Already got a shout out from Patric Young. He loves him some Adams, as do I. Don't forget Friday, you can get Nana's Nuggets too. Not only all the great barbecue they have, but Nana's Nuggets Friday. All right. So our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week, Jack Caglione. Has he ever been Gator of the Week before? Let me think. I think he has been a couple of times. But he is on a tear right now, and it is fun to see these highlights because he hit a ball the other day that they say may have gone 600 feet, but they don't think that it got measured correctly. But in his last, his OPS is 1.114 in the last 14 games. He's had 3 multi-homer games in his last 14 games. Went down to Tropicana Field in a homecoming kind of game, hit 2 out. One of them was massive. I'm so happy to see this. In fact, he is getting a lot of attention, and I'm happy for him because I love watching him. He was great helping us out with our golf tournament. One of the great Gators of all time, maybe the greatest. You can argue it. I'm always going to be in the Wilkerson camp, but you can argue it. You can make a Langford argument still too. You can make a Zunino argument. You can make a Singer argument. I'm still sticking with Wilkerson for now, but Cags is in the argument. All right, that is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week. All right, our Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Pick. We're going to give this to you, and like I said to Lee, your package has been put together, and I will get it out to you. Oh, I forgot to put on my headband, didn't I? But I'll wait till the next one for that. The Leonardo's, it's very simple. It's yes or no questions. Yes or no. And they involve golf. Does Nelly Corda make it 3 majors in a row? Yes or no? That's all you got to do. Say yes or no. And does Scotty win overwhelming favorite to win at the Travelers this weekend? You say yes or no. You say yes, yes. Yes, no, no, yes. Whatever the other one is. No, no, I guess would be. All right, so that is our Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Pick. It'll allow you to qualify twice. And we will we'll probably do a poll next week. Probably next Thursday, actually. I think is when we're going to do it when Tammy Reese is on. All right. So that is our Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Pick. Appreciate Kyle and everybody over there. All right, it is time for this, that, and the other.
Do you want? This, that, and the other.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I'm wearing a headband. Yeah, you see what it says? The Hustle, the Atlanta Hustle. They are one of the sponsors of this, that, and the other. And, of course, we appreciate Matt Lerner for sending me a couple of these headbands. I think it'll come in handy in golf. But the Atlanta Hustle still has 3 more home games left. Don't forget that. It is also brought to you by Notary Joe's. Notary Joe's is the place to go. Joseph Newton, go see him, or he'll come see you, actually, because he's a mobile notary. So give him a call or reach him on his email address right there on the screen, and you can get him to come right to your house. And it is brought to you by Darshakow Insurance for all your home, auto, commercial, and life needs. All right, let's get to this, that, and the other. And this is that, the whole Brendan Sorsby thing. Very interesting story. I would like it if I didn't have to talk about him anymore. But obviously he had the injunction he was going to play. That was that was the Big 12 came down and said, you can't play. We're gonna battle you on this. You're not going to have our support on this. We're going to try to get this resolved, and not in a good way. And immediately his people said, well, we'll get in the supplemental draft then. How's that? Now, a lot of people they were saying, we don't know what the supplemental, what is that? Well, I knew what it was because there have been a lot of players that have been drafted in supplemental drafts. Anyway, the other is the NFL came out and said, no soup for you, Brendan Sorsby. We aren't going to have a draft just so you can go. A guy who's already done something. Betting on your team is as bad as you can get in the NFL. We saw what it did to Pete Rose in the Major League Baseball. But the NFL is not going to go, oh, yeah, let us make an accommodation for you, the only person we have to do this for. No, we're not going to do that. And so I don't know what Sorsby's going to do. Probably we'll spend the summer working out and then go spend the fall working out and get ready for the draft. All right. That is our this, that, and the other. And we appreciate the lovely bandana there. Now I get my hat back on. All right. Let us move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend, or Sponge of the Week, sorry. Brought to you by our friends at Gallo Car Wash, where we get all of our cars washed. We appreciate Gallo so much. And our Sponge of the Weekend is the Phillies. Ugh, boy, it pains me to say it, but the Phillies are winning and the Braves are losing. I felt like the Braves had kind of righted the ship there when they beat the great pitcher from the Brewers, Mizorowski, is that the way you say it? I don't know. But anyway, they beat him, and then they won the next day. And I'm like, man, we're fine. We just beat the division leaders twice. Since then, they've lost 4 in a row, including 3 straight to San Diego. And I'm not really happy, and I'm nervous. And the Phillies are coming on, and they're now 4.5 games behind. They're just soaking up wins, and the Braves are soaking up losses. So maybe both of them are the sponges of the week. Not good. All right. That is our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. It is time for us to wrap it up, as we always do, with our Swamp Games of the Weekend, brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, the place to go. Whether you're watching Love Island, whether you're watching baseball, whether you're watching basketball, whatever you want to watch, the Swamp's a good place to go and watch it, and you can get great drink specials and great food as well. For our Games of the Weekend, all right, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, tonight is the World Cup, 10 o'clock on Fox. Do you also have a 4 o'clock game today? I may watch this. I may actually watch this. Curacao against Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast team. I like watching them play. That's on FS1 if you want to watch that. And then the U.S., if they do, well, either way, no matter what happens, they will play on Wednesday on Fox. And I know that we'll talk about that on Monday, but we still don't know who they're going to play. We'll have to wait and see still. That's why the bracket things for the World Cup don't intrigue me. Because just tell me who you're playing. Okay. All right. Baseball, Saturday, Yanks at Sox. Please do not tell me this is the greatest rivalry in sports, because it's the greatest rivalry in ESPN's eyes, and ABC's eyes. But the Sox stink. They're terrible. They're not even in contention. So, they're the 1 o'clock game on ABC. And then Sunday night, of course, NBC is going to pick it right up too. Yankees at Red Sox, 7:30 on NBC. Woo. All right, I wanted to give you these times too for the golf. Again, we'll be watching. I'll be paying a lot of attention to it. They're both the men's and the women's tournaments on NBC, Peacock, and if you have Golf Channel too. The Travelers is on from 1 to 4, and then on both days, and then the Major, which is the PGA Championship for the women, is 12 to 3. So you get the 12 to 3. I'm sorry. That's 12 to 3, and then 3 to 7 for the men, and then Sunday it's 1 to 4 for the women and 4 to 8 for the men. Sorry, I screwed that up. Now you know. Just watch golf all day. It's all on NBC, so you should just be able to enjoy it. And if you're really a big hockey fan, NHL Draft Saturday, 1 o'clock on ESPN, and then the next day is on ESPN Plus, which should tell you that the NHL Draft doesn't quite have the same pizzazz. Although I did watch one. I was up in Asheville a while back, and I was there with my brother-in-law, Bobby, and we just wanted to go find a brewery and sit and watch something, and the only thing on was a draft. We watched it. It was actually kind of entertaining. All right, that's going to do it for another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. So thankful to have my two good friends on today, Patric Young and Don Gaffney. And so thankful to have Zach as my producer, who puts it all together and makes the magic happen. I am Pat Dooley. I'm not magic, but what I am is deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.